Thank you for coming. Southern West Virginia is most proud to have been chosen to be the homestead for the summit. What an opportunity we have, ladies and gentlemen, not only to showcase our region, but our people. The Boy Scouts of America are very dear to my heart. Having been married for 45 years to a Scout enthusiast, I heard many, many stories about life adventures of being a Boy Scout. And by the age of 16, Jim was an Eagle Scout, a Brotherhood level, the Order of the Era, and also had his God and Country Award. Can we say? But how would we have turned out if we hadn't had that? And many parents and spouses throughout the country are saying today, thank you, Boy Scouts of America. Thank you for building men. And ladies and gentlemen, we have that opportunity to help build men and women for our next generation. This evening I have the great opportunity to introduce you to Dave Kopsa. David is top shelf. He comes to us, is now a West Virginia homesteader himself. He's a great person who has worked throughout the country for the Boy Scouts of America, including Philmont Ranch in New Mexico. Let me bring to the podium David Kopsa.
Thank you, and thanks for coming here tonight for the opportunity to talk to you guys about the summit. I'm the assistant manager of programs for the Summit Bechtel Family National Scout Reserve. I'll just call it the summit from now on, but I got the official name there once. I was contractually obligated. What my presentation tonight is going to be is basically an overall story of how the summit got here, and kind of our goals and our day of service portion, which is what we're here for tonight, and how important that is to us. The story of us coming to the summit kind of starts out in 2005. From 1981 until 2010, we held our National Scout Jamborees at Fort A.P. Hill in Virginia. Can you all hear me? Is that better? We held our National Jamborees at Fort A.P. Hill in Virginia. It was a military base. And some things kind of happened that caused us to have the concern that we might not be able to use that military base every 4 years. The military is getting busier and busier, and we wanted to be prepared, because we're Boy Scouts and it's something that's important to us. You might have heard that. And we wanted to ensure that we would have a secure home for one of the most important events that we have, the Jamboree, which we hold every 4 years. So a site search got underway. Well, first, Stephen Bechtel of the Bechtel Foundation and his construction company, Bechtel Construction, pledged $50 million for the purchase of the site that we would eventually come to agree on here in southern West Virginia. So that was a very important step. The next important step is we solicited project proposals, site proposals from anywhere across the country. We received over 80 submissions from all across the country, I believe 28 sites. Locations that represented every time zone, every area in the continental U.S. And we started a couple other important things for us was we wanted, wherever we went, we wanted the support of the government, the state government. We wanted to make sure that we could have a positive relationship with them and that they were going to be excited and anxious to have us come to West Virginia or whatever state we ended up in. The other two things, we wanted to be close to 4-lane highways. The Jamboree is an event that will bring in 40,000 participants and roughly 8,000 staff members, so about 48,000 people, plus or minus a few. And they all come on one day. For the most part, we meet on one day. So transportation was crucial for us. So we wanted a site that was close to multiple 4-lane roads, relatively close to airports and transportation like that. The other thing that was very important for us was that it was close to world-class outdoor adventure. So, Joe Manchin, then governor, personally flew to Irving, Texas, headquarters of the Boy Scouts of America, and made the pitch for West Virginia and the site, and pledged the support of West Virginia. And the state of West Virginia and Boy Scouts go together like peas and carrots, is what he said. And that support hasn't waned since the beginning of this project. He's now senator, but we continue to have great support from West Virginia. The other factor that was very attractive to us about this location here in West Virginia is its location to the population of the United States. Our spot at the summit is within a 10-hour drive of 66% of the U.S. population. Why that's important is for the Boy Scouts, one of our rules is that a scout troop cannot drive more than 10 hours in one day. So with this site here, 66% of the U.S. population can drive here in one day and be within our rules. We thought that was very important. It's also within 33% of the Canadian population, so very important there. Now, the other factor, you guys all know this very well. We've got Interstate 74, 64 right here, Interstate 19, very good roadways, very good access. And our site is bordered on 3 sides by New River Gorge National River area. With what we were looking for, I don't think you could find a more perfect site for us than the site we decided on, the summit. This is a map, and it kind of shows the eventual build out of the site. Right now, development is focused on about 1,000 acres. 1,000 acres we're calling the Jamboree footprint. This is where the Jamboree is going to happen. Our inaugural event at the summit will be the 2013 National Jamboree on July 15th, 2013. So this is the area, this is the roughly 1,300 acres that we're focusing construction development on right now. What you'll see in these areas around here is our living villages. That's where the Scouts will be camping and living for the 10 days of the 2013 Jamboree. Pardon me. Construction began last October, and from October to roughly June, July, the majority of the time was spent flattening the hills. Kids don't like to roll out of their tents as they sleep, so we had to find some flat spots for about 40,000 kids. That took a lot of time here in West Virginia, as you guys know. So a lot of the construction the last year or so has been focused on getting these villages ready. We moved out of that, started to put in our infrastructure. We started to build our shower houses and our program infrastructure and facilities. The living areas, like I said, are these villages here. Our activity areas, right here we have Mayhem Mountain. Mayhem Mountain is where our extreme sports are going to be. That'll be skateboarding, BMX biking, mountain boarding, really cool stuff that, activities that we've not done a whole lot of in the Boy Scouts of America in general. We'll have our 2 shooting sports areas here. This will be our archery area, and this is our shooting sports base camp with all a wide, it's going to be a world-class shooting facility. At 48P Hill, because it was a military base, you could only use short-range firearms, which was shotguns and some black powder rifle. Here, we'll have a lot of shotguns, trap shooting, rifles. We're going to have a pistol range for our venture range scouts. So world-class facilities. Down here is Adventure Valley. Adventure Valley is going to have a lot of really fun stuff. Around 37 miles of mountain biking trails. It will have 2 large zip lines, the largest of which is around 4,000 feet. It will have a challenge course, obstacle area. It will have rock climbing and rappelling, a huge area. We'll be using both natural rock and artificial rock walls for that. We have our canopy tour base camp. Bonsai is doing our zip line and camping tours. They've done class sixes and some others in the area here. So we've really cool stuff. The area in the center here is what we're calling the Summit Center. The Summit Center during the Jamboree will be open to the public, anyone. The areas I just pointed out will be open to the registered Jamboree participants for the 10 days. But this area here, anyone can pay a day fee, which we get to establish. They'll come in, and that's where our largest retail outlet is going to be. It's where we'll have our museum display, lots of exhibits, and then in this section right here is what we're calling Adventure Point. And it's going to have miniature versions of all the activities that are going to go on in the base camp. So the people that pay their day fee can get a taste of what the scouts get during their 10 days of the Jamboree. So that's a basic outline of what the site is going to have and be in 2013. We're going to be ready for a great Jamboree in 2013, but there will be more development and construction after 2013. There's various phases, and so this the previous slide was kind of what our goal is on a long-term basis. There's a little closer look at the center, and this area right here is our arena. Big part of the Jamborees. We have a big arena show towards the end. Bands, live music, fireworks, lots of exciting stuff to hold. Design this arena to hold around 80,000 people. And day visitors that day will be able to stay for that event. So this, as I said, this is what it actually looks like from the sky. So you guys might be driving by where this is and then wondering what's going on. Well, this is what we've been doing. In the air. Our developer, Trinity Works, is working 2 10-hour shifts a day, Monday through Saturday. Trinity is a company out of Texas, but our contract with them stipulates that the subcontractors that they hire, they need to hire 80% West Virginians. So usually that's a good thing for the local area. We're trying to build this site in a very sustainable way, as ecology minded as we can. One thing is on the site we found enough rock to make gravel to cover the roads and all the gravel needs, so we didn't have to, if we hadn't found this area on the site, we would have had to pull in, I think, 27,000 semi-loads of rock in from other parts of the state across the highway. So we think that's a good and efficient use. You saw that bare area where we're putting up the tents. Cut down a lot of trees to do that. But we had all those trees milled, and those trees are the wood that's being used to build the shower house facilities. Like I said before, around 350 shower houses to take care of all the scouts at the 2013 Jamboree, and we hope they'll shower more than once. Technology is very important on this site, from the construction all the way to the actual Jamboree when we get there in 2013. GPS, they're using GPSs here. Can't see a picture of it there. But the graders, the shovels, each shovel has a GPS unit on it as well. And it sends a signal up to space, and it tells them what grade they need to be at. Why is that important? Because that means they can grade at night. They don't have to be looking at the roads. So they're trying to really be as efficient as they can in construction. This is what kind of a demonstration campus would look like. This here is the tents and some of the equipment that the scouts will be using for the Jamboree. In the past, the scouts had to bring all this stuff. Tents, picnic tables, shelters, all sorts of stuff. We're providing it at the 2013 Jamboree because we now have a facility to order this stuff and get it delivered to us and put it out on the sites. That's allowing kids to come to the Jamboree cheaper. Our fee went up from $800 to $850, but their council fee, the council where they live in, they also had to add on to that transportation and cost for all the equipment. They don't have to add any more equipment costs. So we're finding that most councils across America are lowering the Jamboree fee from anywhere between $150 and $300. So we're really excited that the first Jamboree at the summit should be cheaper than the last one at $850. signage we're hoping to have on the site. This is a team of designers from various walks of life that are designing our action sports areas. For example, the people designing our extreme sports area is a company called Swan Ranch, and they have designed all the X Games activities for the last 17 years. That's the level of quality we're looking to have in our program areas, because what we're trying to do here at the summit is create something that every kid is going to want to be a part of, and that will get them excited and introduce them to scouting, because we feel that what you get out of scouting is an incredibly great benefit. So this past summer, a lot of you may have heard about Summit Corps. We had around about 500 kids a week for 4 weeks moving out of the Glen G Armory building mountain bike trail on the New River Gorge National Park. This was all work done in the New River Gorge. And we're working on our site. These are trails that are going to be open to everybody. This isn't part of the 37 miles of mountain bike trails that will be on our site. From everything we heard, that was a great success, and we were really glad that one of the first things that we could do here in West Virginia as an organization for Scouts was a project that benefited the public. And very excited about that. And right now, this is an old slide. We have around $250 million raised for the overall project. Nothing is built on the site until we have funding secured for it. So we're trying to be very responsible with the money we raise and the promises we make with that. So the 2013 Jamboree is going to be very exciting. The reason we're here tonight is because for one day of the Jamboree, each troop of 40 kids is going to go out into a southern West Virginia community to do a project that will benefit the community. And that's going to include 9 counties. And this is the Raleigh County portion of that. And this is what I think one of the most important things we'll be doing at the 2013 Jamboree. It's one of the most important things for the relationship between the Boy Scouts of America and West Virginia. We want it to be a success. But the only way it's going to be a success is input from the community and interaction, volunteers, people in the community understanding what this is about and telling us what sort of projects are going to make a difference in Raleigh County and all the counties. Myself, I came from Philmont the last 5 years. I grew up in Iowa. I took this job without ever having been to West Virginia. So we have a couple other, there's 2 people in the office that are, 3 people now that are from West Virginia. The rest of us in the Boy Scout portion, which is about 9 people, we're all new to the state. We're having a great time, but we aren't going to be able to be the experts on the kind of projects that actually make a difference here in Raleigh County. So we really need the community input and advice on how we can do that. The Boy Scouts will have the final say on all the projects that get done in this initiative. And if we say no to something, it's going to be because logistically we can't support it. We're not going to say no to a project because we don't think it's important to the community. We don't have that information. You guys are the people that are going to be able to tell us what's important. And I thank you in advance for your efforts in this. We hope, this is the first time we've done a Day of Service project at National Jamboree. We hope to do it at all the jamborees we hold here. And we think it'll be a big benefit. In 2013, we'll have the first Jamboree. 2017, we'll have the next National Jamboree. In 2019, we'll have the World Jamboree. The entire world of scouting, that is, will be coming to the summit in West Virginia. And this will be hosted by the United States, Canada, and Mexico here in West Virginia, the first time 3 nations that have hosted a Jamboree. And then we'll have another Jamboree in 2021. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity for community service if we get this working right this time. It's going to be hugely important. video.
The future of scouting is being shaped in the mountains of West Virginia. It's called the Summit Bechtel Family National Scout Reserve, the Summit for short, and there's nothing else like it on Earth. It's high adventure. The Summit sits on more than 10,000 acres and one of the greatest outdoor playgrounds in the world. It's a gathering and more. The Summit is the new permanent home of the National Scout Jamboree. It's the future shaped by you, today's scouts. You're setting the course for the next century of scouting, and it leads to the summit. The summit will host the 2013 National Scout Jamboree, and plans for the largest youth gathering in the world couldn't be bigger. It began with a history-making $50 million donation from the Stephen D. Bechtel Jr. Foundation, the largest in scouting history. And with millions more in charitable giving since then, the 2013 Jamboree at the Summit is shaping up to epic proportions. Visitors will have some amazing spaces to share with us at the inaugural Jamboree, and large parts of the Summit will be Scouts only during that time. Also, 2013 will be the first year to include venturing at the Jamboree. Themed sub-camps will dig deep into the action sports that are at the center of the Summit experience. Get ready. The 2013 Jamboree will be like nothing you've ever seen. The Summit is the Boy Scouts' 4th National High Adventure Base, and it's going to be intense. The High Adventure Base at the Summit Bechtel Reserve will be a chance for Scouts to take on the load of outdoor challenges, all in one place. The result is friendship, leadership, and memories that will last a lifetime. The Summit is an opportunity for every Scout to come away with unforgettable experiences forged in adventure. The Summit puts everything cool about scouting in one place. This setting, this experience, this kind of scouting is life-changing.
The point I want to make is mention venturing. If you don't know what venturing is our high school age program within the Boy Scouts of America. It is co-educational. So the 2013 Jamboree will have males and female participants, and we think that's going to be really great for this first time. So again, thank you. If you have any questions, I'll be by the banners over there at the Summit booth, and love to talk to you about what we're doing here in West Virginia. Thanks so much.
Thank you, David. It's my privilege now to introduce one of our own. Robert Martin is the CEO of the Citizen Conservation Corps. I've had the privilege of working with Robert in the last few years. We saw the first tee come to fruition, which was local and is now statewide. The Courtesy Patrol, which he has worked so hard to sustain and advance. Burning Rock ATV, which has become most successful with his organization and management. It is growing, has added a zip line, and there's more to come, and many more projects. We know Robert as a visionary. He has the energy and the brain power to have many accomplishments, and his history is much success. It's my privilege to introduce to you Robert Martin.
Good evening, Raleigh County and visitors. David, wow, we are truly living in unprecedented times and exciting times. As I stand before you today on the eve of the launch of Raleigh County's Community Service community service initiative, I would be remiss if I didn't think about a great president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who created the New Deal, which was some experimental projects that was going to give this country back hope out of despair, and which was going to bring us out of the Great Depression. So one of the premier programs of the New Deal was the Civilian Conservation Corps. And what did they do? They went out into the country and they planted 3 billion trees. They went and developed national parks. They built roads, bridges, sewer systems, laid water lines, created infrastructure, and they brought this country back out of despair. And more importantly, they helped sustain local communities. How did they do this? These CCC boys were paid a mere wage of $30 a month. But guess what? $25 of their paycheck had to be sent back to their families who were in communities all throughout the country, and that helped to stabilize, communities within the country. So he was truly a great business and a great man. So the Boy Scouts have a 100-year plan, and I would call it a vision. And they chose the CCC to be the clearinghouse and the coordinators and organizers for all of the community service projects that are going to occur during the 2013 Jamboree. Now, Commissioner Reed has already talked about some of the projects that we've been associated with, but that's just a few. You can find us in the New River Gorge, working with the National Park Service, doing historical renovation, removing cuts, building trails, doing signage and things of that nature. We're also at the Mine Academy, doing backlog maintenance projects, painting, landscaping, what have you. With the northern panhandle up in Harper's Ferry, doing the same types of projects that we're doing here in the New River Gorge. We're on the Seadoak Canal, maintaining our towpaths. We're building trails all throughout the state, major trails. You'll see some of our young people in the city of Beckley and in the city of Huntington. And thank you, Mayor Pugh, for helping us to establish our new crews that are going to do beautification projects. So one of the reasons that the Boy Scouts chose us to be the clearinghouse is that we think we know what we're doing when it comes to organizing large, upscale projects that have never been tackled before. Hence, the courtesy patrol and the first tee as a statewide initiative. So the Boy Scouts, what is that going to look like, the Boy Scout initiative? And let me frame it for the entire 9-county region, and I'll allow our champion, Judy, to frame it for Raleigh County. Imagine every morning for 5 days, the 15th, 16th, and 17th, and then I guess they'll rest and recreate on Saturday and Sunday, and then they come back on Monday and Tuesday. So every day, you'll have 8,000 young people, and we're going to put them on approximately 245 buses, and we're going to disseminate them into the 9 southern counties. And they are going to be doing 20 to 25 pre-planned projects, well-organized projects per county per day. Now, one of the things that David talked about was each boy doing 1 day of service. But that is 8,000 Boy Scouts per day, along with volunteers that are going to come from within the state and out of the state. So we're estimating that in each county, we're going to have approximately 1,200 volunteers per day. So that's a lot of manpower. So we have to be ready for the Boy Scouts. Now, how are we going to be ready? We're going to go into the schools, and we're going to put project applications in the young kids' hands. We're going to go into the churches. We're going to go up the house. We're going to go down in the watersheds all throughout this county and throughout the region, and we're going to get the word out. Okay? This has been referred to as a game changer. It is. So let's be ready. One of the things that the Boy Scouts had told me is that it doesn't have to be perfect, but let's not screw it up. So I guarantee you we're not going to screw it up. And I'm enlisting you all's help, okay, as we move forward with this initiative. We started working on the project in May, and I've had a lot of brilliant people to work alongside of me as we chart the path. So having said that, I'm not going to steal any of Judy's thunder And thank you for coming out, exciting times, participate, each and every one of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert. Now it's time that we get to introduce our champion. And sure, she is our champion for this project, but for Raleigh County, Judy's been our champion for a long time. She's been working with economic development in Raleigh County. She's very persistent. She's wonderful at networking and bringing about new economic development, new jobs, new participation in our county that would be unknown if it hadn't been for Judy. She is our champion, and we're happy to have her this evening as our champion for our new community service project. Judy.
Okay, now one of the important things that I'm going to say is that there are lots of cookies back there, now 9 dozen. When you leave, you need to take some with you, because if you don't, I have to do something with them. This initiative, we've had lots of calls about people who are interested in getting involved in Boy Scout project. So we have a lot of things going on. Many of them don't make the news. They're just kind of behind the scenes things that we have to do. This is the first major initiative, and it is so complex that it's a good thing we have someone like CCC to take the lead on this. It's going to take that kind of organization to pull everything together in logistics. Tonight here, we're encouraging all of you to get involved in this project, to volunteer somewhere with some of the things that we're doing. Cutter has the application. The applications that you can get a hard copy from Cutter, and then you can go online, and the address is on the back of the application. Find out where you can get an electronic version, and it's a lot easier to fill this out, in my opinion, online. Whatever works for you, but you can do that. There are 5 different categories where we're looking for projects. Green friendly, things fall into green friendly. Arts and education, construction, infrastructure, and wellness. Some of these categories, the Scouts can do part of the work, but they're going to be people who have certain skill sets, and that's where some of you will come in. Here, well, to begin with, the deadline for these applications is March 31st, 2012. But if you can get it in early, that would be a good thing. We're expecting so many applications that we need to have a little bit of time and do the work. And as you'll see in just a minute, everything kind of ties together. We have Chris Leister, who is chair of the Media and Public Relations Committee. They were the ones responsible for getting out the word that we would be here tonight. And as we go along with this project, they will be the ones who will figure out how to communicate with everybody so that you know what's going on. Chris is in the back of the room, and if any of the other media and public relations people are here, wave your hands so everybody will know you've already volunteered. Fundraising is Susan Landis and Debbie Seisner, where they're co-chairing. They've already started to develop a pretty nice list of potential sources for some funding. We hope that as you give us your application, you will identify some ways that you can bring some of your own materials, supplies, whatever, to the table. But we know there are going to be some projects that are going to need some help. So Debbie and Susan will work on helping us find the funds to actually do some of these projects. If there are others who are on that committee, raise your hand and be acknowledged now. Apparently, the people who are going to be on these committees, only the chairs are here, and that might be because I sent an invitation, asked them specifically to be here. But we do already have a lot of people involved. Margaret Ann O'Neill, wherever she is here tonight. She's the chair of the volunteer committee. The volunteer committee is going to have a huge job, because once we have these projects in hand and we have figured out what we need, like I said earlier, we're going to have people with certain skill sets, people who can work construction and can provide some oversight, people who know how to use electric tools and can maybe do some components for us. So there are just any number of ways to volunteer. So if you'll find Margaret and sign up on her committee, There she is. Thanks, Mark. Then as we begin to see what we have as far as the projects are concerned, we'll go to public. Culture and Education is Dr. Bill O'Brien. Dr. O'Brien's not here tonight, but he's the chair, and he's really thinking. He's been sending emails about what they can do. The Culture and Education Committee will be responsible for providing something back to the scouts while we have them for the day. It might be touring the back of the mind, if they're working something in that area. It could be any number of things, so that's Dr. O'Brien's committee. And then finally, Jim volunteered to be head of the youth committee, chair of the youth committee. And there's lots of thinking going on there, but one of the things that we want to do is re-engage our own youth. Up the membership of Scouting, we want to have the highest membership percentage in the country, in this state, if we're going to have a jamboree here, and other ways that Jim will be working to get our own youth back involved in everything. So he's going to need all the help he can get, so if any of you are interested in that, that would be a great place. What it comes down to is grab a cookie, visit the booths, talk with everyone, absolutely get an application from Cutter so that you know where to go to get the electronic version of it. One other thing before I release you, I hope I see you go back to get cookies. We have Dave Halfley here somewhere. He's in the back. Dave is with Parsons Brinkerhoff. Like I said, we have other different kinds of efforts going on with this project. Parsons Brinkerhoff is going to help us prepare a strategic plan for not only today and through 2013, but what do we need to address for the future. And by the time he's finished, hopefully we'll have a better idea of what we need to do. He has a 2-question survey. If you would complete that survey, we would appreciate it. It will help us pick everything off. So, and he's standing in the back with a, holding up a survey. So, if we don't have any questions, okay, do you want to wrap that up? All right, any questions before we say, let's visit booths? Okay, let's do cookies and visit booths.